Even though the Supreme Court just ruled that the use of lethal injection in executions is legal, experts say the death penalty debate is far from over. Today, the justices voted 5-4 in a case from Oklahoma that the drug used is not cruel and unusual punishment. Channel 4's Jim Piggott has been talking with legal experts about what this means for Florida, and he's joining us from the courthouse downtown. Jim?
You know, I've been down here at the courthouse talking to people here and talking to people throughout the legal profession about what all of this means. None of them are surprised by the ruling today, but a lot of people are telling me there needs to be new debate over the death penalty itself. For the state attorney's office, the news of the Supreme Court decision was expected.
We're very happy that the Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of the death penalty. Capital punishment is constitutional. It's in the Fifth Amendment. There's no dispute about that.
But two of the dissenting judges in the case say more than likely the death penalty itself may be unconstitutional, and that's going to lead to more debate in the future.
There is an attack by some in terms of the death penalty. They cannot attack it anymore. Well, they try in some cases say a person is innocent, but that's not the attack now. The attack now is on how it's carried out, which they're relying on the Eighth, which is ridiculous in this scenario. To me, the bottom line is if there's an issue, let's go back to firing squads. It would be one bullet and it would be quick.
Former state attorney Harry Shorstein has prosecuted or overseen a number of death penalty cases.
My opinion has changed somewhat because we have studied the death penalty from every angle imaginable. And my conclusion today is the system is broken as it applies to the death penalty. There's no possible justification for having people on death row. I think the average is 13 years, but we have a case in Jacksonville where it's 40 years. That arguably is cruel and unusual punishment.
He's talking about the case of this man, Jacob Dugan, who was sentenced to die 40 years ago for killing a man in Jacksonville and trying to start a race riot over it. Shorstein says he's working with a group in Washington that will be challenging death penalty cases. Defense attorney Richard Currit says Florida will have a huge role in upcoming death penalty cases with the Supreme Court.
Florida is the only state that allows a person to be executed on a recommendation of simply 7 to 5. Almost every other state requires a 12 to 0 recommendation. So right now it's pending in the U.S. Supreme Court is that particular issue. Is Florida's scheme of the death penalty constitutional? And I think there's going to be a real problem with that, and I suspect that it's going to be stricken down here in Florida.
And because of the Supreme Court ruling today, the Attorney General here in Florida, Pam Bondi, is asking the state Supreme Court to go ahead and lift a stay for an execution planned here at Stark. And it's one thing that she wants. She says it's important because of this ruling today that would allow them to go on with lethal injections here in Florida. We're live from the courthouse downtown. Jim Piggott, Channel 4, the local station.